Hey guys, Nolan here with another plant talk. Today we're talking about the eastern white pine, also known as Pinus strobus. This is the only Ontario native pine with 5 needles in a bunch. They grow up to 40 meters tall. Obviously they're coniferous. They can grow almost anywhere, but they prefer sandy soil and they grow really quickly. Now, what do I mean that they grow in bunches of 5? So, the needles all will come from one little point in these bunches. So there'll be a whole bunch of these little bunches scattered throughout. Now, when you pick one off, you'll have all these needles coming to one little point there. And when you count them, you should average 5. So sometimes needles will fall off. You might only have a bunch of 2, 3, or 4. But generally speaking, you should get needles of bunches of 5. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's a stubby one there, all coming from the same point. So that's how you know that this is a white pine. The other native Ontario pines have 2 needles. Now obviously, because this is a coniferous tree, its seeds are in cone form. So these cones have these kind of little plates, and then inside the plates actually contain the seeds. And these seed cones will be anywhere from 8 to 20 centimeters long, so they get fairly large. And they will seed every 3 to 5 years. Now these trees, they are popular for lumber and they can be grown as Christmas trees. They're the provincial tree of Ontario. And when the British came over, they decimated populations of these to use them for ship masts because they grow pretty quick and relatively straight. So it takes a lot less mangling to make them into a ship mast. That means that there aren't many white pine old growth populations left in Ontario. So generally, most of the white pines you'll find are relatively young. They also are known as the soft pine because if you feel their needles, they're not very prickly, they're very soft. Kind of almost feel like you're twirling some hair. Now, for the Haudenosaunee, this is a symbol of peace. It was chosen by the peacemaker as a symbol of unity for the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. And these trees will usually lose their 2 or 3 year old needles in the winter. So they'll have a couple different years worth of needles in the summer. And then by the winter time, they'll drop most of their needles and only really have the new needles. Now, your fun fact is the word Adirondack is a Haudenosaunee word that means tree eater because the Algonquins would collect the inner bark of the white pine during winter starvation. This has been the eastern white pine. You'll see lots of these around.